Welcome to the Real American Road Trips podcast series from iCast 24 in Orlando, Florida. On this episode, I sit down with Major Bass. Check it out. So I'm here with my buddy Paul Hilson with Major Bass
and Mission Fishing. Correct.
So tell me a little bit about those things, what you got going on, and why you're at iCast.
Okay, so I'm at iCast working for Major Bass. It's a media company.
Yeah.
We represent 29 professional anglers and then 10 larger companies. A lot of those you've heard of, but we're gonna.
That's fine. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I come here. I do the social media management for a pro team. So those guys that are influencers on that pro team, they get baits. They highlight them every month. Right. And then we do sales based on that.
So social media has changed the game in
Absolutely.
the fishing industry. So, kind of, how long have you been doing this?
This will be a year.
A year now. So you're getting it where now it seems like in the fishing industry where guys used to, sponsor an angler in one way. Now it's a lot of the influencers
Correct.
And stuff.
Correct.
So the fishing industry is having to change the way they approach it.
We're old guys. We
are, man.
And so for me, it's been a year of like learning curve. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things you don't know about social media, and one of the things that's kind of prevalent is that the guy that's wearing the jersey, standing in front of the wrap boat, advertising a bait, the average person might look at it and go, nah, he's paid. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy that bait just because he's telling me.
Right.
That psychology has led to this influencer market. So people are more apt to buy a lure from that guy down the street that fishes that farm pond. That's right. Yeah. Because they feel like they can relate.
Right? 100%.
So that's really where there's a horsepower now for the influencer. It's a strange deal, right?
Yeah.
And more often than not, a lot of these companies that are here are starting to see that.
Yeah.
They were early on in it, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. And there's a lot of horsepower in the average guy who brings an integrity and honesty to the business.
That's right.
And puts forth, that good creative element. And that's another thing too. Just like I found out about you guys, there's an honesty to your show.
Well, I appreciate that.
Right?
Yeah.
That you don't get with just a hook set and a catch, a hook set and a catch, a hook set and a catch.
Yeah.
There's an education level to what you do. And also, just like what you bring, a lot of us don't know everything, but we're always absorbing. So that's kind of a good deal, right?
It is a good deal.
It's helpful. I'm a guide here in Central Florida.
Right.
My lake is actually 4 miles from here.
Yeah.
And, man, I take people of all ages and all skill levels. Some people are very proficient. Some people have never even thrown a spinning rod. So you get a good, well-rounded view.
Oh, absolutely. I know you do, yeah.
I tell them when they get on the boat, hey, we got 4 hours. I don't want you to rush it. I want you to feel it. And by the end of that charter, they're locked in. And it's really about perpetuating the industry and pushing it forward.
Yeah. So that's the thing with our show. When I go to a location, it's new to me. And I am actually learning as the viewer is watching me learn. So, the experts are the ones you go seek out when you go. And then it's pretty cool to, even if I watch a video and I am on a location somewhere that I may not know exactly, don't have an expert with me, but, the ability to find it, even on YouTube and stuff now, or just somebody that you can relate to. Yeah. Just an average weekend warrior. And and try to put it in place.
And you probably see this too. You get some bad information.
You do.
You do, right?
You do.
But even that has you have that ability to learn from that bad information sometimes, and that helps. I mean, I take in as much as I can, but I'm no expert. I just know my lake.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't fish with shiners, so a lot of the local guides that are here in Orlando,
they like that live bait, huh?
They do, man. And I can't blame them, but I have a hard time sitting and watching a bobber or a strike indicator.
If you're a twin trout, guys, a strike indicator. I understand. No, I get it.
It's
a bobber, man. It's a bobber.
Well, I'm like this. My grandpa called it a bobber, and he wasn't wrong about much.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So I mean, like, it is. I get it. It's a strike indicator, but I always like to rag him.
Yeah.
All the guys. It's a bobber, but that's some good, fun-natured stuff. But you're right. With the live bait, you've got that clientele that a guy just tries to put them on there. But those that want to kind of compete
learn.
against the fish and learn. That's
Right.
where that artificial
Right.
really comes into play.
It really is.
And you take that information, you absorb it, and then maybe next time you go out on your own and try it,
Yeah.
and are able to do something like that.
So I
But
know you have a tackle store, correct?
I do, yep.
Right. So are you into tackle? Like, are you a tackle head? Are you like, man, I like the Fritz or I like the Chug Bug? Are you one of those guys? Because I am. I'm a tackle collector. I have stuff from way back. I have
Yeah.
the Devil's Horses. I have the Chug Bugs. I have.
I am not that guy.
Yeah, I am.
I know that guy.
You're
I know plenty
lucky.
of those guys.
I get a lot
Yeah.
of knuckle bumps from my wife over stuff like
For
that.
sure.
Right.
No, I get it. It's kind of interesting. I tell everybody there's two types of tackle in a tackle store. There are those that are designed to catch fish, and the other 80%
catch 'em,
catches
fish 'em.
the anglers. And so I try to be a little more honest when guys come in, as to what's working
Right.
and what they really actually need to go catch fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can sell a product to anybody, but if you want them to come back,
It better catch fish.
you sell them the product that catches
Yeah,
fish.
yeah.
Take Zoom worms, for example.
Man, they work.
They work 15 billion colors. But in North Georgia, you predominantly have 10 to 15 that are the
And I'm
staples.
gonna guess one, and I will bet you go, yeah, it's gonna be the watermelon with the red flake.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Works on spotted bass lakes.
yeah, that'll
And
work just about everywhere. in
It
the
will work
country.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And any type of green pumpkin,
Yeah.
a variation of green pumpkin. But they also have these colors that are like, looks like a saltwater color.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to carry that in the store.
Right.
Just because I know it's there, it's going to collect dust if it even
Right.
sells.
Right.
So, and that goes with the integrity kind of aspect of it, And so when it comes to live bait fishing, that is very simple. It's good for children to get them started and all that. But when it comes to artificials, I'm not a collector, but there are staples.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Chug Bug works on Lake Lanier like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And chrome with blue.
And it works everywhere.
It's always worked.
And I feel like it's probably one of those baits that's primarily based on reaction. But if you get your color right on a lake, you're not gonna fail. You can do it all day long.
100%. 100%.
For me, as a guide, I try to start them out on soft plastics, especially if they're new to the game, because everything you learn in soft plastics, in my opinion, will translate to a jerk bait,
It does.
to a
Yeah.
popper,
That's right.
to a crankbait,
Yep.
to a spinner bait. I also, my lake has a lot of cypress, a lot. So we have a lot of lay down timber. So I like to fish. Cliff Pace makes a bait.
Yeah.
It's Black Label Balsa.
Yeah.
There you go, Cliff.
Cliff, there you go. Got him right there.
Cliff Pace makes a Black Label Balsa crankbait,
Yeah.
and they're beautiful. And the thing about it is he hand paints them all himself. But I can throw that around lay down timber, and I can feel that timber, and I can stop it. It'll float up, and I can come right over the top of it. And a lot of times when it deflects off of any of that cover, that's when I get my strike. So it changed the way I fish.
Yeah.
And I try not to pigeonhole myself into one or two techniques. I want to learn them all.
Right.
And I find that when I go fish something different, if a client sees that they can do it, man, it just opens a whole new world for them.
It does. It's eye opener. But let me ask you this: you got one bait only that you can only use it for the rest of your life. What are you choosing?
The Vizelle, it's the Imigatsu Vizelle. And
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. I would have thought plastic worm or something
No,
like that.
Imigatsu
Really?
Vizelle. It's like a crawler.
Yeah.
It's a Japanese brand, Imigatsu. I just found it about 6 months ago.
That good? It's made that big of a.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The problem is that it's a BFS technique, so you have to buy a reel that's going to be capable of throwing that. BFS is kind of new. I say new. It's been around.
That's that light stuff, that finesse and everything.
Listen, with that BFS reel that I throw, I can throw flies on it.
Seriously?
Oh, I'll show you. You're going to be blown away. This reel is so good. I don't want to talk about the name of the reel,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
this reel is that good. And every company that makes reels right now is focusing on this market.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are going to the bigger reels and the swim baits and the big swim baits. I like doing that. That's great. A glide bait's great.
Right.
But I find that for frequency of bite, I'm going to catch a big fish if I'm throwing that, but I might only get 3 bites all day.
Yeah, yeah. And that's true with that technique.
Right. Now with this Imigatsu Vizelle, I'll say that, man, if y'all haven't seen that, you need to.
I'm going to check it
insane.
out. Yeah, I'm
And they
not
make
familiar with
a
it.
myriad of different colors. They make them that look like a dragonfly. And being from South, there's a dragonfly spawn.
Yeah.
And during that time, we get a lot of topwater action. So when I saw this, I was like, man, whatever. It was a $27 bait where I bought it from. I found it for cheaper already, but I bought one because I thought, well, if I'm gonna take a chance, I'm only gonna spend that one time. Um, man, I throw it on 8 pound test.
Yeah.
I throw it up in Cypress, bro. They can't ignore it,
I love it. I love that.
and it makes a lot of noise.
Well,
It's a lot like a buzz bait, but you can stop it, and it'll stop on a dime. So I can fish a zone that's 4 foot by 5 foot, and I can get a lot of action in
a
that.
lot of action on that. Well, okay, speaking of that, when we going fishing?
Listen, you have carte blanche. When you call me, I will set it up.
You will set it up.
I want you to come for a few days because it's not just my lake. I've got a couple of different experiences that I think are completely worth it and sort of life changing here in Central Florida.
Yeah, life changing.
They have been for me.
I
grew up down in South Florida.
Yeah.
And then I moved to North Florida to the Jacksonville area when I was younger. So I did a lot of different kinds of fishing. We used to fish for drum, sheep's head, snook. My grandpa was big into that. My grandfather was also a fly fisherman, and he was very adept. So he could put it on a lily pad, pull it off, put it next to the lily pad, put it back. You know, he was good.
That kind of guy.
Yeah, but for us, conventional fishing was what we did, and we would go in Fort Pierce, right there near Hutchinson Island. Beautiful area, great fishing in Fort Pierce, by the way. If you're in a different part of the United States and you want good Florida fishing, Fort Pierce, Florida is amazing.
Okay.
And then I moved to Jacksonville, so it was St. Johns River. So we did a lot of shrimping on the St. Johns River.
Yeah.
And some of the shrimp we kept and ate, and some of them were live bait. So trout, red, right? So I have a wide variety of fishing experience. I came to Central Florida 94, and I'm a fiberglass guy. So I worked for Correct Craft. I laid up boats. And at some point, I decided I wanted to find where the top of the fiberglass industry was. So I ended up at a theme park. I'll let y'all guess which one.
I wonder.
Yeah.
Florida, I wonder. Yeah.
So fiberglass is where I cut my teeth at. But so when I got here, you know, I was driving out to Mosquito Lagoon and trying to do that saltwater thing. But you're spending so much money for each trip that you're like, man, I got to kind of reduce this cost, you know.
For sure, 100%.
My wife and I had only been married a few years. I had young kids, and every dollar counts then. So I stopped going out there, and I started bass fishing. And I found this lake, and I have been there since 96.
Must have been a good one.
It's a good one. My son pulled a 14.5 pound bass out of there.
Okay, so what I think we need to do is, as we're scheduling for season 3,
Okay, hey,
I think we need to kind of hook
Yeah.
up and get together and go
absolutely.
fishing.
Man, I would love to have you out.
Yeah.
We're actually expanding the guide business to a 2-boat operation.
Yeah.
I want to be freshwater 2 conchs.
Listen, I
I
understand
want to
it.
be freshwater 2 conchs. So by, let's say 2027, I want 16 boats and 16 captains, and nobody does anything but freshwater fish.
Hey, listen, though, there is a market for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're here.
Yeah, especially in a destination area.
Right.
Yeah.
But like here at iCast, you see the saltwater, you see the freshwater. Freshwater is very difficult fishing. A lot of people don't realize that. I can go saltwater fishing, and I can use lures or I can use live bait, same as I can with bass. But I feel like when you get into the lure side of bass fishing, it's a completely different. It becomes a puzzle. Weather conditions count, moon phases
100%. Yeah.
air temp, water temp, everything counts. And you know, we kind of have a special spot, just like a saltwater guy would have. He's got coordinates on a GPS where he goes, and
That's right.
that area.
That's right.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
And it's full, man. And I'll tell you, in the years that I've been guiding, I have not had a client come out and get skunked. Not yet.
That's awesome.
Knock on wood.
No, I tell you what, I think that's absolutely perfectly cool. Let's go ahead and kind of make sure that we've got all our information in season 3. Let's hook up, because if you're going to put me on a life-changing fishery, I want to be on that.
There are places here that I go where I know I'm going to catch fish, and I work a lot. So the social media side takes up 40, 50, 60 hours a week. My regular job takes up 60 hours a week.
Yeah.
And then guiding, the cool thing about the guiding for me is I can take a trip or not take a trip. I have the ability to shut the faucet off.
Right.
So when I do take people out, it's really recentering for me. And I feel like if I were wasting it on, you know, nothing against Lake Toho, it's great.
Right.
But when I'm out there, there's 100 other bass boats out there.
Yes.
And I could pull up on a spot and know there's fish, but somebody's going to pull right up with me. My lake, you won't see another boat all day long.
Well, let's do that. Let's schedule it.
Yeah.
We'll find us a good place to go eat, drink,
Oh, hey,
and
listen,
just make
and
a
that's
whole
another
thing out of
too.
it.
So I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
I'm a little thin, but that's because of the summer heat.
That's right. Well, I make up for you in that thinness.
Okay.
But man, I appreciate you jumping
Yeah,
on.
man. Hey, I
Hey,
appreciate
it
you
is
having me on,
absolute
and let's
date.
do this.